Hey, public opinion aficionados, it's Mark Mitchell, head pollster of Rasmussen Reports, and really happy to join Gene Valentino at the Grassroots Truthcast today. I support his podcast. Go check it out and subscribe while you're there.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever.
For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great.
With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Joining us now to discuss our political panel. Today we're joined by Daniel Lippman. He's a White House and Washington reporter at Politico. Also with us is Gene Valentino. He's been away for a while. He's a GOP political strategist. Good morning, gents.
Good morning.
So as Alana just reported, the Senate Select Committee is holding a hearing today on worldwide threats with testimony from Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, and many others. What is your reaction, and is the administration making the world safer or more dangerous? Let's start with you, Gene.
Well, I think you nailed it on the introduction, and so did Alana. It's intelligence for a reason. That means I don't think that you should be putting it in the hands of people who are going to spin it and stir it and ferment a narrative that works more on a political basis, not for the primary concern, the national security of this nation. We have intelligence that far exceeds most people's comprehension. And the least we want to do is corrupt it or marginalize it with the world knowing that we have it. Therefore, the element of surprise must be always present and must be at the ready to defend this nation. Putting all this data out there, John, in advance, reduces our ability to respond accordingly. We don't need them to push the nuclear button to say, hey, maybe we should respond now.
Yeah, great point, Gene. Daniel, I'm curious to get your reaction to that question as well as to Joe Kent resigning. It does seem a bit interesting. 3 weeks into the war, he's talking about a forever war, as well as there's some reports saying he was not privy to a lot of the meetings of some of his counterparts who are testifying on Capitol Hill today. You're a D.C. insider. You get the best scoops. What are you hearing?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting that he would resign the day before this hearing when he knows that his top ally, Tulsi Gabbard, is going to get grilled about Kent and kind of about her previous views. There is still a tweet from January 2020, right after Soleimani was killed by Trump, saying from Tulsi, saying, "Say no to Trump's Iran war." And so she would sell T-shirts against the Iran war as a campaign person. And so that is quite interesting that she's sometimes been sidelined from some of Trump's more aggressive foreign operations. And so Democrats and maybe even some Republicans are going to see if there's any daylight between her and Trump and whether she's fully on the team to help prosecute this war.
Yeah, it's, when I actually analyze Kent's commentary, the fact that he mentioned Jewish lobby, that seems like a personal opinion, not from intelligence reports. But CNN is reporting new polling on Republican approval of U.S. military action in Iran.
Okay, MAGA GOP on the U.S. military action in Iran. Look at this. Nearly 9 in 10, 89% approve of the U.S. military action in Iran. That is the MAGA GOP base. Just 9% disapprove of it. This is tremendously popular among the Republican base. And of course, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, overseeing the effort. It seems to me that a lot of people are taking that into account, including President Donald Trump, who has been smiling an awful lot at Marco Rubio lately.
Gene, as an adjunct professor of business, I'm going to take the liberty to round up 89. Let's just call it an A-. That's a pretty good score. What say you?
Well, I think it's a good score, but it's not just with the Republicans. Even the Democrats agree that there must be a move in this direction. You have a situation here where the House of Representatives and now the Senate are trying to grapple over basic things like the SAVE Act. They're having trouble coming to the same level of percentage the rest of the nation feels about these issues. And we're going to worry about their access to intelligence information. If they can't fix the SAVE Act and get the fundamentals of election integrity in place for this nation, I don't want them anywhere near President Trump's authority and control, which has proven very good in the management of a crisis that he has literally transformed overnight as compared with past wars.
Yeah, and to think we could trust Congress with all of this intelligence when we know there's so many leaks out of Congress. I think it was very strategic. President Trump did not go to them in order to get authority, which he already has. But Daniel, the government shutdown remains in effect, and TSA agents and other federal workers are still, unfortunately, not being paid, leading to chaos at airports across the country. Here is Speaker Mike Johnson on the shutdown and its impact.
American airports obviously are reaching a breaking point, so severe that airlines are pleading with Democrats to please fund the Department of Homeland Security. It's fallen on deaf ears. 4 separate times, Republicans have voted to fully fund DHS since this chaos ensued, 4 times. And on each of those times, Democrats voted almost unanimously to block the funding.
Daniel, where do we stand with these negotiations? Is there any end in sight to this current mess we're experiencing with TSA?
Unfortunately, not right now. The White House did have a kind of a letter listing where they stood on immigration reforms. That's what Democrats still want. They felt galvanized by the strong public response to those shootings of the protesters in January, but now it's late March, mid-March, and so some of that fever pitch has died down. So you have to wonder, when does when Democrats decide that the political pain gets too much for them, then they will start to buckle. But so far, I think when we start to see potentially smaller airports, whether they will have TSA agents. Sometimes, if you're at Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket Airport, there's only a couple agents on duty. And so if they all call out, there's no flights out of those islands, and also many smaller airports. And so that's kind of the next shoe to drop that may start to hit headlines.
Gene, I need you to help me out this morning. I'm looking through my notes. It was just last year, right, when President Trump came in and started doging D.C., cutting, slashing, waste. At that point in time, the Democrats cared about federal workers. Then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. Now they're putting certain federal workers out of work. Help me make sense of this.
Well, when Elon Musk stepped in and ran the show, it's as if he opened Pandora's box, and instead of a cricket or a little grasshopper popping out, there was a bevy of rattlesnakes popping out of all the ilk out there in terms of budgetary fraud and misuse of American taxpayer dollars. It's absolutely worse than we thought. The Democrats and the Republicans in the House and the Senate need to look in the mirror and assess their own ability to balance a budget legitimately. They should be denied a paycheck until a budget is secured. And that's all these continuing resolutions as well. If you cannot balance a budget for the greater good of this nation, you don't get paid. In fact, you better look for the exit door.
Can I say one more thing on the Doge is that Musk came in saying, I'm going to cut like $1 trillion.
Go, Daniel. I'm sorry, we got to go. Daniel. But you know what? The thing is, it's frustrating America. Thanks so much, Daniel and Gene. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever.
For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great.
With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.